In this segment, we're going to talk about the NCAA's eligibility requirements, and I thought this was so important that I made its own tutorial. The NCAA requires a certain number of core courses, a minimum GPA, and a minimum SAT or ACT score to be eligible to play collegiate athletics and to receive a scholarship. The requirements vary depending upon the division you wish to play in. It is of great importance that you meet with your school guidance counselor in your freshman year and inform them of your intention to play collegiate athletics. But don't leave it up to the counselor. High school guidance counselors have many students that they're responsible for, so you need to work to be knowledgeable about the eligibility requirements yourself. A great resource is the NCAA.org website. Be informed about the NCAA eligibility requirements and make sure you're taking the proper courses to be eligible. The link below takes you to the best resource to learn about what you need to know, and it's a must-read for athletes and their parents. What you need to do is click here to Academics for Athletes, Eligibility and Recruiting. And there's a guide here called Information for the College-Bound Student Athlete and Parents. It's a real must-read. It'll take you here to the guide, and they do it in English and in Spanish. And you can download it and read it at your leisure. The NCAA eligibility requirements are pretty complicated, and as we say, they depend upon the level you want to play at, whether it be Division I, Division II. What I'm suggesting is that you go to the NCAA.org website, click here to Eligibility and Recruiting. Then when you come down, Information for College-Bound Student Athletes and Parents, click on that. Then click on Eligibility Standards Quick Reference Sheet. When you do that, this document will pop up, and it really is an important document for you to read from beginning to end. It talks about how many core courses you need. It talks about the grade point average. You really need to get this, print it out, and read it. Now, as we said, eligibility is a complicated subject, but to put it in a nutshell, here are the high points. Division I has a sliding scale. The higher your GPA, the lower your SAT or ACT score needs to be. Division II has no sliding scale, with the minimum core GPA being 2.0 and the SAT score being 820. Note that it says core GPA. Only the NCAA designated core classes are calculated to get this number. Another point to note is that for the SAT exam, only the math and the verbal are counted when it comes to eligibility. The above eligibility standards are the NCAA minimum, but in many cases they will not get you into the college of your choice. As we have said before, it is true that softball can help you get into a school that you might not otherwise get into. But the bottom line is, no coach will take a player who has shown academic indifference, no matter how good they are. If they did, and that player flunks out of the school, the coach looks bad and their credibility is hurt to get future borderline players in. In other words, academics are extremely important. Also, to note, for Division III eligibility standards, you need to contact the specific institution for their requirements. Now, being eligible is one thing, but you have to actually go through the process for the NCAA to verify that you are in fact eligible. So if you're going to play softball in the NCAA, you're going to have to go through the Eligibility Center. And a good time to go through this process, and it's basically paperwork that now we do on the computer, a good time to do this is during the spring of your junior year. To register for the NCAA Eligibility Center and to do the amateurism certification that you also have to do, go to the NCAA.org website, click on Athletes and Academics again, come down here to Eligibility Center website, click on Fall 2010 or after, and the NCAA's gone pretty high tech. Take a look at this.
Welcome to the NCAA Eligibility Center. This is where you'll find the tools and information you need to begin your journey as a college student athlete.
Again, it's very important to go to that NCAA Eligibility Center and do that information online. And again, a good time to do it is during the spring of the junior year. Now, the SAT and ACT exams. Everyone knows how important these exams are to the college entrance process, but many don't know when the best time to take the exam actually is. When it comes to softball players in these exams, it is extremely important that they take them no later than the fall of the junior year in high school. Many guidance counselors will advise students to take them in the spring. Here's why that's incorrect. Suppose the young softball player does take them in the spring and has a bad day, they're not a good test taker, or maybe she just panics and does poorly that day. Well, during the crucial recruiting summer between the junior and senior year, that poor test score will be the only one to put in those recruiting books, and the colleges will get to see it. And if you get the idea to just leave the test score blank, then the coach will just assume it was a bad one. That is all it will take to get a coach to move on to another athlete. If the exams are taken in the fall of the junior year, it takes the pressure off the student athlete. It allows her at least one more try before the summer and time to get tutoring to improve her score. Remember, on the ACT, only the best math and verbal scores are taken to determine your eligibility. On the ACT, it is the math, the science, the English, and the reading. The writing component is not used. Also, you are allowed to use your best scores for each section even if they occur on different exams. Meaning, if you take the SAT twice, you take the best math score and the best verbal score even if they don't occur on the same exam.